6:23, 28 degrees. Welcome back to Daybreak. In Storytime with Aunt Phil, the history of sled dogs from the early days of native settlements to the gold rush boom.
Yeah, author Laurel Downey-Mill explains how dog teams played an integral part in early transportation.
December usually signals the beginning of dog mushing season in Alaska, with the Iditarod in March being one of the most famous races in the world. It's a test of endurance, strength, and stamina.
Sled dogs have been used, well, long before the Iditarod. Laurel, we're talking mid-1700s?
When the Russians came ashore in Alaska in the mid-1700s, they found dogs in the villages. Natives in Alaska, northern Canada, as well as Greenland and Siberia used dogs for centuries to haul sleds loaded with fish, game, wood, and other items. Now the natives would run ahead of the dogs to guide them on their yearly trips between their settlements and fishing camps as well as hunting areas.
Did the Russians use dog teams too to explore Alaska?
Yes, and they improved on the sled and dog system. They added handlebars to the sled and then harnessed the dogs either in single file or in pairs. They also taught the dogs to follow commands given by the sled driver and introduced the lead dog or the leader. So Russians, although they were limited somewhat in exploration to the coastline and to existing native trails between settlements, but both natives and the Russians found frozen rivers very useful winter trails.
And I would guess that sled dogs probably had a real important role, played an important part in the gold rush too?
The use of dogs and their sleds were really used during the Klondike Gold Rush after gold was discovered, of course, in 1890s, 1900s, so long-distance travel was necessary. Stampeders quickly learned that dog teams were worth their weight in gold. And soon these dogs were hauling chichacos all over the place, as well as helping to establish law and order, as well as mail routes, and then packing these miners to their next strike.
So I'd imagine that there was quite an extensive trail system.
Men and dogs blazed many trails throughout the Turnagain Arm Mining District, as well as Valdez to Fairbanks, Seward to New Prospects in South Central, Alaska's interior, and the Seward Peninsula. So by 1905, you had sled dogs hauling mail over 180 miles from Seward to Susitna Station, which at the time was a little steamboat stop along the lower Susitna River. It had become a supply center for the dozens of mines that dotted the foothills of the Alaska Range. But of course, when gold was discovered in 1906-07 on the Innoko River, that's another huge trail established that eventually stretched from Seward to Nome, and we know that as the Iditarod Trail.
Very cool. Well, next week in Storytime with Aunt Phil, 46 years ago, the Alaska Native Land Claims Settlement Act is signed into law. The role Howard Rock played in getting his people that agreement and how he helped unify Alaska Natives at the same time.